Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be shedding light on the ample problems appertaining to men being ghosted by women in the dating world. So, what are some of the issues appertaining to men being ghosted by women in the dating world? Without further ado, without further delay, allow me to demystify that answer to that inquiry right here, right now. Lamentably, much to my dismay, much to my consternation, much to my chagrin, much to my agony, much to my distress, and much to my grief, the problems appertaining to men being ghosted by women in the dating world are indeed multitudinous, profound, and eminently extensive in nature. It is grievous, it is egregious, it is deplorable, reprehensible, despicable, disgraceful, undesirable, and insalubrious when a man succumbs to being a ghostee by a ghoster who is his former partner. It is an insalubrious, indecorous practice to ghost someone. So, when a man is ghosted by a woman, it is indeed ineffably problematic. The problems with men being ghosted by women in the dating world extend beyond the ambit of it just being a calamitous, direful predicament that has befallen upon men. It can also undermine their confidence, their self-esteem, and it can even cause them to become stymied, obstructed, impeded, encumbered, and stifled. How so? Because if they're not formally provided with a notification from their former partner that the relationship has abruptly ended on a whim, then they may not be privy to the fact that it has ended, and they may be out of the dating marketplace for a prolonged period of time. So, it can cause them to defer, to postpone, to forestall, and to delay finding their next partner for a prolonged period of time as a result of being clueless as to whether or not their relationship with their former partner can be reconciled and can be rekindled. If a woman were simply to notify a man that the relationship has abruptly ended on a whim, that it is severed, and that it is dissolved, then he can subsequently move on to finding his next partner, if he so chooses to re-enter the dating world. However, a man is reticent about recommencing dabbling into the dating world until he definitively knows that his current relationship has become severed and can no longer be maintained. When a woman ghosts him, she will not hear his plea. She will not be amenable to mending the relationship, and it is tragic and unfortunate and lamentable, but it is what it is. It is definitely an immature practice. It is a jejune, insalubrious, discourteous, indecent practice, but it is what it is. Ghosting should never be exhibited by anyone. So, the problems with men being ghosted by women in the dating world extend far beyond the ambit of just men being left in the dark, not being provided with closure as to why the relationship ended, and men deferring, recommencing, dabbling into the dating market for a prolonged period of time. When a man is ghosted by a woman in the dating world, he's not provided with any feedback appertaining to the relationship, and he needs to be introspective and not only deduce that the relationship has abruptly ended on a whim, for some enigmatic reason. But he needs to be able to ascertain, uncover, discover what he could have done on his end to improve himself so that going forward in subsequent relationships, they are less apt, they are less poised, they are less primed to become abruptly severed on a whim. A man should always strive to ameliorate himself and self-improve himself. You want to be able to manifest the quintessential version of yourself into reality. You want to be able to actualize your latent potential. You want to be able to thrust your life into a forward movement trajectory. You never want to regress. You never want to stagnate. You never want to be impeded, encumbered, stymied, stifled, nor obstructed. You always want to be able to reach your higher aspirations and reach your overarching goals. When men are being ghosted by women in the dating world, it can cause them to become depressed, dispirited, demoralized, despondent, and anxious. Furthermore, it does not furnish them with any feedback about how they can self-improve themselves. You should always want to amplify your knowledge, your competencies, your skill sets, and enrich other aspects about yourself. And no feedback is furnished to you for whatever reason. You do not know how to improve, and you're all the more liable, all the more apt, all the more poised, all the more primed, all the more prone, all the more vulnerable, all the more susceptible to making the same mistakes in the pending future that ended the past relationship. You want to know what caused a schism in the relationship. You want to know what abruptly ended the relationship so that going forward you do not repeat the same mistakes that ended your past relationships. So it can be problematic to not know why a relationship with a woman was abruptly ended. If you did anything wrong on your end, you want to know the mistakes that you made that can be precluded so that you do not find yourself in this morass, in this predicament, in this circumstance ever again. Another problem with men being ghosted by women in the dating world is that it not only renders them a little more apt to become depressed, despondent, demoralized, anxious, and insecure about themselves, but renders them to value themselves less. People do not take kindly to being rejected. They do not want to be spurned, and they cannot fathom the notion of being ghosted by a woman who they invested so much time, effort, energy, resources into building a relationship with, just to have it be abruptly severed on a whim without being furnished a single reason as to why it ended, and without being even provided with any notification that the relationship has ended. So they may devalue themselves, they may underestimate their worth, and because of that it can be indignifying, to say the least. No one wants to be degraded. No one wants to be disrespected. No one wants to be sassed. And no one wants to be swindled. And the least a woman can do on her end is render the man privy that the relationship has ended and furnish him with some semblance of a reason as to why the relationship has ended. But if she does not, he may devalue himself and that can render him all the less apt, all the less poised, all the less primed to maximize his success in life. You want to be able to maximize your success and never devalue yourself and never sell yourself short and not lower your standards. So do not allow that to undermine your confidence, your self-esteem, nor self-image. I hope that you found this video to be insightful and enthralling. The problems with men being ghosted by women in the dating world are ineffably extensive and have caused many men to become dispirited, disheartened, depressed, demoralized, pessimistic, negative, bitter, callous, and anxious. I hope that you found this video to be captivating, mesmerizing, engrossing, informative, and riveting. Have a blissful day. Goodbye.